All right, before we're starting to get a little scarier, and we're getting a few answers, let's talk about before episode 8. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watch Your Past. I'm here to talk to you about Before Season 1, Episode 8, which comes to Apple TV Plus on December 6, 2024. The title is When We Dead Awaken. This is the 8th episode in a 10-part series, so we should be getting some answers. We should be getting closer to the unraveling this mystery. Do we? Well, my hot take is I think you should watch it. I actually like this episode a lot. It is a good episode. It answers some major questions while also like tying the various elements that we've been dealing with together. It is a much easier to follow episode, surprisingly, given the kind of like chaotic nature of the ending. And it definitely does give us some answers, still leaves us with some questions. But overall, I really enjoyed this episode. I like this episode a lot. I think it's a good one. It definitely leans on the supernatural roots, the like scary horror-ish, like very horror light, but horror-ish elements of this series. So I definitely think you should check it out. I definitely think you should watch this. Before has been up and down for me, but this one makes me hopeful that the last episodes are going to be pretty good. I guess we'll find out in a couple weeks. So all that being said, I'm going to tell you a little about the episode, a few things I like, a few things I didn't like, and then really quickly go into a recap. So as you can imagine, there'll be spoilers in the recap section. If you don't know what happens in this episode, I would turn off when they get to the recap. Before that, though, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler-free. I'll let you know when I get to those spoilers. Now, before episode 8 continues after episode 7's revelation. It's not a direct continuation. It happens a little bit later, but at the end of episode 7, remember, Eli took Noah to Benjamin's brother's house where Noah seemed to project Benjamin. He seemed to like take on his persona, talked to his brother as, you know, called him Lenny, called him a familiar name, referenced things that they used to do. So it seems like Noah is possessed by Benjamin's brother. And after, Eli tried to get more information from Noah, and this caused Noah to kind of like freak out. Eli had a vision of something terrible happening, something involving a girl drowning in the water, and then he vomited water. So we don't get a direct, result after that, but we do see afterwards that Eli's supervisor was very concerned with what he did to Noah, with him, being involved in this case, with having personal connections. So Eli is now off the case, but does he let up? Does he stop investigating? Of course not. We get to see more of his investigation in this episode. So, things I liked about this episode. The first, I liked the supernatural aspects. Before has always had like supernatural-ish roots, but you weren't sure if it was like supernatural or like psychosis slash memories. Now it feels much more on the supernatural side. It feels like they're really pushing into Before's promise, really like giving you some unsettling imagery, some kind of like connections between the various characters. So I am excited to see where this goes. Second thing I love the build-up. It is a slow build-up. It is a fairly linear build-up too, which is nice. It's not jumping around as much as the previous episodes did. This has a pretty solid story. There's, a few characters that overlap, but overall, the buildup is slow, steady, and leads to a very nice conclusion, which comes to the third thing I loved. I love the ending. I thought the ending was good. I thought the ending tied a lot of the different things together, a lot of disparate storylines that we've heard about. I mean, they don't get completely wrapped up, but they at least connect a little bit more in this weird supernatural way. And it also gives you some answers to some big burning questions we've been wondering about. You get that at the end. You don't get full answers because it's before. You're never going to get full answers, or I assume you're not going to get full answers until the last episode, but it does give us some answers. So, things I didn't love as much. First, it's a shorter episode. This series has been trending down in terms of episode length. This one, I think, is like 24 minutes long. It is not a long episode. It is a very short episode, which is sad because I want more answers. I want more connections. I want to figure out where this is going. And the series has been getting progressively shorter. And I hope that the last 2 episodes pump that up because I would really like to see how this concludes. And the second thing I didn't love as much, there's still questions. I feel like there will always be questions until maybe the last episode, but maybe they're going to want to leave some stuff for a possible second season. So maybe we won't get answers there. But we do get some revelations, but there's still some questions that we don't understand, don't know about. I'll go into that in speculation after the recap. So, all that being said, before episode 8 comes to Apple TV Plus on December 6, 2024, definitely think you should check it out. It is a good episode. If you haven't gotten on the Before train, it's been a bumpy ride, but I liked this one, so I'm really hopeful it's going to finish strong. I guess we'll have to wait and see. So if you do watch it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. Let me know what your theories are. I'm going to really quickly go into a recap right now. So if you don't know what happens in this episode, I would turn it off now because there will be spoilers. So remember, Eli took both Noah and his supervisor with him when he went to visit Benjamin's brother's house. And his supervisor was very concerned about all the connections here, right? Eli worked on Benjamin in the hospital. He has this connection with this person inhabiting Noah. Eli's wife was Benjamin's girlfriend, so he has a personal connection there. There's all these conflicts of interest, I guess, personal connections, things that could affect Eli's judgment that his supervisor was worried about. And as a result, Noah seems to be getting worse. He seems to be getting more deeper and deeper into this, whatever psychological episodes he's having. So his supervisor takes Eli completely off the case. Eli is off the case, but that doesn't mean he is not working. He takes the photos that he got from Benjamin's brother and develops them. And he sees the trip. It is a pretty nondescript overall trip. It's like a road trip. We see some scenery. We see like a gas station. We see Benjamin and Lynn. We see the cabin the farmhouse that has been kind of a focal point since the first episode. So we get to see all this. And Eli uses his assistant again. He gets her to try to find the farmhouse. And his assistant is very concerned about all this because Eli seems to be just degrading since he took on this case. But she does it anyways. She helps him out. Now, Eli then goes to Noah's foster mom and says that she needs to stop the transfer. Noah is getting transferred into like a state-sponsored hospital. And Eli's like, if you do this, he's just going to spend his life as the ward of the state. He's going to be medicated, institutionalized. They're going to keep him like sedated essentially, and he is not going to live. And she's like, he's not getting better. And Eli's like, I am getting better. I'm making progress. You just have to trust me. Now, eventually, Eli says that he and Noah are connected. And the foster mom doesn't understand this. But then we see Noah talking to Eli's supervisor. She's trying to get through to him. He is just not responding. And then eventually he screams, runs, and tries to jump out the window. The window is reinforced, so he just hits the glass, hurts his nose, blood spraying out of his nose, and at that exact moment, over on Eli's side, his nose just kind of explodes. Didn't hit anything, didn't do anything, his nose just kind of explodes. The foster mom is a good person, she's not a monster, so she's like, oh my gosh, come inside, sits him down, helps him clean up, and then she gets a call from the hospital, and the hospital tells her that Noah had an accident and he hit his head. He's bleeding profusely from his nose, but he's fine. And she is very confused by this. She looks over at Eli and Eli's like, connected. And then he basically like drops a mic. Like essentially he might as well have dropped a mic at that moment. So we don't really know if Noah's foster mom was on board here, but at least Eli made his point. Now Eli's assistant is not able to find the farmhouse, but she's able to find the gas station that's in the picture. So they go down to the gas station, and at the gas station, Eli's looking around and he sees the farmhouse. He makes a beeline for it, and they enter the farmhouse. And during this time, we see Noah is like, essentially, I don't know if he's like in a panic. It seems like he's not doing well. It seems like he is declining. And in his eyes, you see a reflection of what Eli is seeing. So Eli is looking at the farmhouse, and in Noah's eyes, you see the farmhouse there. So it seems like Noah is looking through whatever Eli is looking through, and he is not excited about this, as you would expect. This is not a good memory for at least the person inhabiting Noah, so he would definitely be against it. Now, Eli goes into the house, and then there's kind of a barrage of different imagery. It's not the farmhouse. He goes into like various places in his history. First, he goes into his own home. He enters the farmhouse and goes into his own home. It is empty until we see Lynn there. Lynn looks dead. She looks worse for wear, and Eli says he'll be right back. This is a reference to when Eli left her the day that she died. He said he went out for like an hour. When he came back, she had committed suicide. So that's kind of a reference to that. He says he'll be right back. He goes out, and then we see Eli at the pool, where he said he went to the pool. It looked like he just went to like creep on people. Like the only image we got was like a younger lady in a swimsuit. So it feels like Eli was just there either to just relax or, I don't know, get some eye candy. I'm not sure. But when he gets to the pool, everyone's telling him to jump in, jump in, jump in. And he says like, I can't swim, which I don't know if he actually can't swim or if that's a reference to like, he's not sure what to do about the supernatural world, but he says that. Then there are some like Dutch children in like old, I don't know, like Quaker kind of outfits running around the empty pool. Eli looks at his hand. His hand is apparently infected, and there are worms in there. The worms that he saw in Noah's head, the worms that have been subject of this really horribly produced tape that sounds like a bad VO. Those are now apparently in Eli's hand. They are infecting him, I guess. And so he looks at that, but then he follows the children. And as he's following the children, one of them, they're speaking Dutch. So this could be where this like Dutch thing that Noah has comes from. While he's following them, one of them turns into Benjamin, like older Benjamin. And Benjamin turns to him and says, "Come on, we have to find our friend." And the other Dutch child looks kind of like the girl that fell under the ice at the end of episode 7. So, what does that mean? I don't know. I'm going to speculate on that later, but that is all we've got. Now, Benjamin takes Eli to some Chinese restaurant, and when he gets there, he goes to the counter, and the clerk gives him a pen to sign with, and it's that Mets pen, the pen that Noah theoretically took when they had a counseling appointment earlier that Eli was worried he was going to stab someone with. It's the pen that he used to open the airway for that girl that at the party that apparently that had trouble breathing when Noah had trouble breathing. This pen seems to have a lot of significance. I don't know. Maybe the before people are Mets fans. Maybe the people who are writing it are Mets fans. But it's a Mets pen. It's a plastic, crappy Mets pen, but it seems to come up over and over. That clerk then walks out. Eli's like, "Hey, where'd you get this? Where'd you get this?" He follows him, and the restaurant has snow coming down in it inside the restaurant. So maybe that is also a reference to this girl that fell under the ice. I don't know. You don't really get a ton of information, but he follows that clerk through the restaurant and walks outside, and then he's back in his own house, and he ends up in the bathroom because he's always drawn to the bathroom. There's sounds of water there, and when he gets to the bathroom, he sees Lynn in the bathtub. It's full of like ruddy water, so it could be blood, it could be rusty. I think it's probably blood. This feels like maybe when he got home and Lynn had committed suicide, and she's like reaching for him. She's like doing this, like reaching for him, and he can't go to her. She says, like, "Help me." He says no and tries to leave. Eli screams at this moment and then wakes up. He wakes up with like police around him, and then he wakes up again in the hospital. In the hospital, we hear them say that his hand was infected, and he then ripped his hand open with a pen. So maybe that's that Mets pen again. Maybe it keeps coming back. But in any event, his hand is more injured. They had to treat it. They wrapped it. His assistant is at the hospital with him. Eli says that she was there. Lynn was in the farmhouse waiting for him, and then he like hears voices in his head, and he starts kind of like twitching and yelling, "Stop! Stop! Stop! Stop it!" And then he says to his assistant, in a moment of like clarity, I guess, or a moment or like an epiphany, like, "I killed her. Lynn, I killed my wife." Boom. End of the episode. That's it. So, what does it mean? Well, I mean, I've kind of speculated. I think everyone's probably kind of speculated Eli killed Lynn at some point because all of the evidence, all the like references, all the things he's been scared of are involving Lynn and her suicide. So it feels like he did kill her. Now, we don't know if he actively killed her, if he just came back and like didn't save her. We don't know any of this. I mean, he could have killed her and then like gone outside, like he could have killed her in the bathtub, gone out for a 1 hour walk, and then come back and be like, "Oh my gosh, she's dead." And that could have been his alibi. That's possible. It could have been that he went out for a 1 hour walk just to clear his head, just to like, get a little bit of time to himself. And when he came back, Lynn had started committing suicide. She asked him to like save her, and he just basically said, "No, I'm not going to." That's possible. He could have also killed his wife. There are definitely scenes where he is like either strangling her or holding her under the water that he has envisioned. So all of those are possibilities. We don't know exactly what happened, but it does feel like he killed her in some way, either through neglect or through, action himself, and that will hopefully be explored soon. Also, who is this little Dutch girl? We don't know. It's my just rough guessing here is that whatever entity this was, whatever entity is, connected to Benjamin, connected to Lynn, connected to Noah, is involved there. Either it is the other boy that's in there, and maybe he killed this Dutch girl. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe it was intentional. My guess is they were running around. She slipped, hit her head. Maybe he put her under the water to avoid any trouble, and then that caused him some sort of torment, or she tormented him at some point, and that then transferred to Benjamin. Maybe Benjamin found out about this, got that entity in the house, and then that infected Lynn, and then that infected Noah, and there's just been kind of like that trauma has been moving ever since, and that person has been screaming for justice ever since because of that. That's just my guess. We don't know much, but I mean, like, I don't think Benjamin was that little Dutch boy. Maybe, but it didn't sound like it from his family. His family said that he never spoke Dutch, so it feels like there have been some hops in this entity at some point. Eventually, it stuck on to Benjamin, and then went to Lynn, and then went to Noah. So we will see. I mean, perhaps it went to Lynn, and like Lynn didn't force Eli to kill her, but like relived that incident with the girl, and that's why she drowned. I don't know. I guess we will find all of that out in the next two episodes. Hopefully they will answer it. But until then, I enjoyed this episode. I'm excited to see where it comes. So check out Before episode 8 coming to Apple TV Plus on December 6th, 2024. If you do watch it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear. And if you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.